It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning, folks, and welcome to Thursday Travel and Cruise Industry News. On this, the 16th day of February 2023. Man, have we got a full show today. First of all, one quick reminder, Cruise Amigos will be held today at 1 o'clock my time, noon Amigo John's time, and 6 o'clock for Amigo, what's his name? Oh, yeah, that's Amigo Martin over there on the other side of the pond. And no promises for next Thursday, because that's going to be a sail away day for me. We haven't worked out those details yet. All right, we got a slew of news this morning as well. The headlines, which I'll get to eventually. Former Holland American ship is going to become residential vessels, two of them, two ships. MSC opens a world cruise, still cut for the second Icon class ship. Oceania reveals a new Alaskan experience, which is pretty cool. Tampa Bay Port opens its new app. What? John Stamos joining the Beach Boys cruise. Costa and Aida eye methanol. Cage-free eggs for Viking. Spirit Air to the Caribbean, and much more live here at 11 o'clock. Holy cow. Today, folks, is Fat Thursday. Now, if you don't know what Fat Thursday is, it has to do with next Wednesday being Ash Wednesday and Lent starting. And today's the day that our friends over there in Poland, they call it a Ponky Day. And Ponky Day basically is you go out and you get a donut. It's got powdered sugar on it and stuff inside, whether it's cream or jams or one of those things. That kind of donut. So here in the States, you just go out to the Dunkin' Donut place and get a couple. They're not going to know what Ponkies are, but you can just order a jelly donut. That'll do fine. So if you're listening via the podcast, always welcome aboard. You can always access it via my blog, accessadventure.net. If you're ever watching the podcast, or rather listening to the podcast, and want to hop over to the video feed like you might want to do today, there's a link in the description so you can do just that. Now, with no further ado, I have a special guest this morning. She's been on this show numerous times. One of my favorite people in the cruise world. You guys know I was lucky enough to have breakfast with her one day when I sailed out of Tampa. She actually took me to the cruise port after breakfast, which was pretty neat. But anyway, she's down in South America. So with no further ado, here's the Bethany Bartley. Hey, Bethany, welcome back to Chillie Chats.
Bom dia. Good morning.
That's one of those foreign languages you're throwing at me. Okay, so you're in, let's see, you're in Ilhabela, Brazil.
Ilhabela, yes.
Ilhabela,
yes, which literally translates to beautiful island, which okay. It is. It is a beautiful island.
Now, that is somewhere close to Sao Paulo. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So yesterday we were in Santos, which is the port right by Sao Paulo, and we're now moving just slightly further north up the coast.
Okay. All right. Now, let's back up a little bit. You flew from Tampa to God knows where, and then to Buenos Aires.
Yes.
What you got? Houston,
yeah.
Houston, and then to Buenos Aires. And that took like, 59 hours or something silly.
It's about a 10-hour, the Houston to Buenos Aires is 10 hours.
10 hours. Okay. That's after you got to Houston.
Yes.
All right. And then you got on the boat. So this is your second effort with Azamara.
Yes.
How do you like the Pursuit?
I love the Pursuit. It's a beautiful ship. It's a small ship, so there's a maximum of about 700 passengers. I think our current count is about a little over 6. We're like at 620, 640.
Okay. All right. Now, before we go on with talking about your sailing and stuff, I have to complain, Bethany.
Yes.
I got a text message from Penny. By the way, folks, in case you don't know, Penny is one of Bethany's cats, and I'm going to read it. I'll read it exactly to you. You damn fool! You were supposed to bet on Kansas City. What the hell does a cat know about a football game?
You know, she is my Kansas City kitty. She knows best.
Yeah, I hear you. And of course, then you had to share that same philosophy on the boat, right?
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Did any of those people down there know what you were talking about?
We actually, so about a third of the passengers on the ship are American.
Okay.
So there were a handful of true either Chiefs or Eagles fans on the ship. So
Okay, so
there was
it was a good time for a Super Bowl.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so this morning, I guess it was this morning, you just had, it looks to me like a damn bowl of Cheerios. Is that what you had for breakfast today?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that's what I eat here. I eat here at the farm. I don't eat Cheerios when I'm out on a cruise ship. I mean, you're supposed to have Eggs Benedict or something.
I've had a lot to eat the last couple of days, so today is sort of a rest and recovery day for me.
I'll kind of, sort of, I'll buy that one. And I'm not sure, you post so many pictures, I'll never catch up. I'm so far behind trying to catch up with some of your pictures and stuff. But you were at a museum that was pretty cool, I thought. And this one was, oh gosh, I can't really even remember now where it was. Maybe the museum, the cafe or something.
That's right. Yes. Yep. So this was the coffee museum in Santos.
Okay. All right. So that looked like a pretty cool stop. And then did you go up to this Mount Surat?
Montserrat. Yes.
Montserrat.
Yeah. So yeah. It's not that high.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's just one of the. I mean, I had to get almost forced into to ride one of those things up in Alaska on Mount Roberts, which I did, but it was over some heavy duty protests. Let's see what else we got on here. Oh yeah, this is the other thing. You're on a cruise and you're working. What's up with that?
Well, when I told my boss that I was going to be gone for 3 weeks straight, he was not exactly thrilled with me. So we had a little compromise, and I agreed to work on the sea days because it is a smaller ship, so there isn't a ton going on the sea days.
Okay.
So,
and amazingly, just like I had last week, you've had sensational Wi-Fi.
Absolutely, yeah. I've had absolutely no trouble connecting at all. Doing video calls and emails and chats with absolutely no problem at all.
Okay, so let's see what else I got. Oh yeah, you know what? You clean up pretty good too. I mean, I'm used to you like me on a t-shirt, but you clean up really nice. I just thought I'd throw that out.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, now I would be normally talking about food. I don't think, other than Valentine's Day, I don't think I've even flashed any food when I've used any of your pictures. But that looks pretty good. So how's the food compare to your other Azamara cruise?
It's absolutely fantastic. So this photo was one of the, I think it was either 5 or 6 courses at the chef's table, which was French themed. So that was the main course, which was literally, the woman sitting next to me had the same beef, and her comment about 2 bites into it was, "I can literally cut this piece of beef with a spoon." It was really, really good.
Yeah. All right, now a couple days ago, let's see, you went to a big old ranch and tried to play gaucho. You were trying to ride the horses, or no, ride the cows. You were riding something, or you wanted to. Maybe it was you wanted to ride something.
Yeah, they didn't actually let us ride the horses, but they did bring them out. Part of the tour. Yes, it was a working ranch. I forget the size. I want to say 3,500 acres, but I might be completely off on that. But it was a good sized ranch. They had horses, they had cattle. That was in Montevideo in Uruguay, where beef is king. They are very proud of their beef. So that's, they used to do dairy farming as well, but they gave that up, and now they just focus primarily on raising the beef.
Okay. I had to ask this with being politically correct. Oh, hell, I'm never politically correct. What's up with stomping the grapes like I Love Lucy?
I am almost positive that is just pure tourist gimmick at this point. If they turn around and actually use that for production, I would be absolutely shocked. It was a fun 10 minutes for us to, pose and take some pictures. And it was actually, it felt really good. It was a bit of a foot massage.
Squishing grapes in your toes. No, I'm not going to do that. But I do feel better now about drinking a little wine, since you tell me that maybe they're not using the toe jam and bottling it.
I certainly hope not, because we had quite a bit of wine there. So if that was from the prior tours, then we're in trouble.
All right, now to the most important question for me for this whole interview. You're getting ready to go up to another one of those big cities down there, Rio.
Yes.
And it's a carnival time.
Yes.
Which they call carnival.
Carnival. Yeah.
Now, is this one of those things where you get out and go down the street naked and stuff?
I will not be, but there will be scantily clad ladies and gentlemen out and about, for sure. Yeah.
Do they throw beads? No, that's New Orleans. I get those confused.
So same general concept. So this is basically Mardi Gras. So it's, as you were talking about the donuts in the intro, this is the sort of the last hurrah before Lent kicks in. It actually starts. I'm losing my days. It's either tomorrow or Saturday, where Carnival actually starts, and it runs for several days. But on, I believe it's Sunday night, we're going to the excursion to the parade, which is not a typical parade like we would see in New Orleans for Mardi Gras. It's a samba parade. So there are dozens of samba schools in Rio, and they all compete earlier in the year, and the top either 6 or 8 schools are then represented in this parade. And so they have these massive floats, and there's lots of song and dance. Obviously it's samba, so there's a lot of dancing, but the parade starts at about 9 p.m. and it wraps up at 6 in the morning.
Holy cow.
So I'm gonna have to take a nap.
Well, I'm not sure I'd make it to the 9 p.m. part, much less the 6 in the morning part. But then I'm a real lightweight. All right, so I got to, obviously, folks, in case you're not aware, Bethany and I have become pretty close friends over the years here. So I can tease her. I can say virtually anything to her, and I know she's not going to smack me.
Nope.
But I do really want to ask actually a serious question, since we've been playing here today.
Yeah.
You've done a bazillion river cruises in Europe. You did one Azamara cruise in Europe. now you've done a South American Azamara cruise. Is there any difference in a South American cruise and a European cruise, or is it just the location of your port calls are so totally different?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, the ports themselves obviously are completely different. The one thing I am noticing here, the first 2 or 3 ports, we sailed out of Buenos Aires, and then we did Montevideo in Uruguay, and then in Santos. All 3 of those are very industrial ports as well. So there isn't, sort of a separate sort of cruise terminal location. You're in amongst very vast container shipyard areas. So that's a little different. Most of the places in Europe, there's a little bit of the industrial activity, but it's, it's also kind of right in town as well. So here, yeah, and then it takes a little bit to get into the actual city to do the excursions. But today is the first exception. It is an absolutely gorgeous. It's a tropical. This is our first tender, so we don't actually dock at the port, but it's lovely here. It's absolutely beautiful.
You've already been ashore today?
I have, yes. I was trying to clean up a little bit. I'm a little hot and sweaty because it's a little warm out there again today. But yeah, this morning did a slight tour through the city, made a couple stops for some photos, and then we visited some waterfalls. So a little bit inland from here, there's these beautiful waterfalls. So we spent about 2 hours there at the falls.
Nice. You've got another 10 days or so till you get home.
Yep.
Basically, you go back much the same route you came to get back to Buenos Aires.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. We've got a couple more stops to get up to Rio. We spend, I think it's a total of 3 days in Rio, and then we'll work our way back down.
Okay. Do you have any major plans between now other than the carnival?
That's the big one.
Any major plans before you go back home?
Yeah, so once I get off the ship, I have 3 days. So there's a place on the border between Argentina and Brazil called Iguazu Falls, which are supposedly even larger than Niagara Falls. And they're absolutely stunning from what I hear. So I've got 3 days booked at a excursion there. So you basically spend 1 day on the Argentinian side of the falls. You spend another day on the Brazilian side of the falls. So I'll be doing that before I head home.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, Bethany, as always, thank you for coming on and sharing with us some of your travels. And there we go. You're ready for the parade now.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing with us some of your travels. You know how much I love it, and so do all the Chillie Cruises family. So you stay safe, and well, of course, we'll do this again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me on, Chillie. It's great to see you.
Thanks, Bethany. We'll see you next time. And of
Bye.
course, that is the lovely Bethany Bartley from down there in Ilhabela, Brazil. How's that? I'll still stumble a little over the words. So, all right, I'll be back with some news. And I got any announcements to make too? I got to think through this one. I'll be back, actually, in a second on Thursday Travel and Cruise Industry News.
Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Scootaround. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Scootaround for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise.
You know, I rarely ever get to talk about anything negative about Scootaround because you guys know I couldn't do what I do without them. But actually, they do not have any outlets yet in the South American market. So even if I could have, I couldn't do what Bethany's doing on Azamara because I can't get a scooter down there. So, however, they have assured me if I sail from here, then I can get a scooter on the ship. So we're still looking at that possibility for the future. And then eventually, I mean, Scoot Around they're expanding pretty rapidly now in Europe, which a year and a half or so ago, they were just barely in Europe. So it'll come in time. And again, they're terrific people to work with. All right, I will be back after a quick break from one of our network sponsors. All right, before we get to the news, I did have one other thing to share with you this morning. And, I have not heard from Hot Air Tom for quite a while. I did finally, he got where he could get a signal. Apparently, they had really some difficult issues with Wi-Fi's coming up on the eastern side of Africa. And here he was trying, I don't know, what's he trying to look like there? The Dalai Lama or something. I don't know what he's trying to do there. But anyway, he got back up into the northern part of Africa. And Hot Air Tom was worried that he hadn't been able to work like he normally does and was worried about the money issue and decided he needed to get a job over there in the desert. So he put on his native dress and he went out in the desert and found some dude named Omar who made tents or something. And he applied for a job as a camel jockey. And he tried to pass himself off as a native. And Omar said, dude, you got to have a camel before you can jockey on it. So Hot Air Tom went up to the top of the hill and he starts calling a camel. Here, camel, 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 here, camel, 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 here, camel, camel. And no camel came. And he goes back down to the bottom of the hill and he says, dude, where are the camels? And the guy says, no, speak English. So that's what Hot Air Tom did over there trying to get a job. And that's in, where is it? That's in, I don't know. It's one of those cities. I can't remember. Anyway, Hot Air Tom is back where we can get in touch with him now. And so, and folks, if any of you think are offended because I was politically incorrect in my story about Hot Air Tom in the desert, please address all your complaints to Hot Air Tom. He'll get them. All right, so on with today's news. Our lead story today has to do with Victoria Cruises. Now, Sorry about that. I was completely turned around. I hope I didn't screw up on audio and visuals and so forth. So the second story today has to deal with MSC. MSC's 2025 World Cruise up on the MSC Magnifica has opened up for sale with a new itinerary and an extended discovery of Australasia. The 116-night cruise around the world will visit 50 breathtaking destinations in 21 countries, featuring 22 destinations that have never been featured on an MSC World Cruise before, and 7 overnight stays. The 3-month journey will take cruisers to 5 continents, crossing 3 of the world's largest oceans and sailing over 30,000 nautical miles. Guests can embark on the MS Magnifica from 4 European ports, including Civitavecchia, Genoa, Marseille, and Barcelona, between January 4th and January 7th, 2025. Okay, if I haven't completely screwed up everything on this program, and technically, folks, I have a feeling I've screwed something up. But anyway, Royal Caribbean International is striding quickly toward the next generation of cruise ships. Construction is now underway for the second Icon-class vessel, due to set sail in 2025. The first steel was cut Tuesday for the next generation of cruise ships, and construction is now underway for the second Icon-class vessel. Meyer Turku Shipyard in Turku, Finland, held the traditional ceremony to mark the beginning of the vessel's physical construction. As a sister ship to the much anticipated Icon of the Seas, the ship will be powered by LNG. Congratulations to Norwegian. All right, Oceania. This was kind of an interesting story this morning. Oceania Cruises, which of course is part of NCL, unveiled its Go Local Tour series for summer 2023 sailings in Alaska, designed to provide immersive experience into cultures and cuisines of the last frontier state. The series will be offered on cruises from May to September above the regatta, with 14 departures from Los Angeles, Seattle, Vancouver, British Columbia, the upmarket cruise line announced yesterday. Cruise guests aboard Oceania Regatta will choose from more than 250 tours and excursions in the Go Local program at port calls in Ketchikan, Sitco, Juneau, and Wrangell. The small group of excursions feature visits to local people's homes and some businesses, plus native tribal sites, culinary classes, craft beer tastings, and traditional glacial and national park explorations. The Go Local series is available on 14 departures on the 30,000 gross ton regatta. Okay. Tampa Bay, the Port of Tampa Bay cruise app, how's that, is a web-based platform that directs guests toward points of interest in the area, allowing them to set a timer based on how long they want to explore, and then receiving a map with personalized route. The platform directs visitors to sites near historic Ybor and the Riverwalk, locating restaurants, shops, breweries, and entertainment within walking distance of the port's 3 cruise terminals. It also assists guests with cruise parking at the port. Costa Group, the leading cruise operator in Europe, with its 2 brands, Costa and Aida Cruises, has signed a memorandum of understanding with the methanol producer Proman to further implement methanol as a marine fuel for the cruise industry. The collaboration aims to accelerate the energy transition and decarbonization of the existing fleet by enhancing the supply of sustainable methanol, retrofitting the existing vessels to operate on clean fuel, and investment in further methanol-fueled new builds. Due to its ease in handling, methanol is increasingly being recognized as a top alternative fuel for meeting greenhouse gas reduction targets, making it an appealing option for newly constructed ships and retrofitting existing ships. All right, the next story today has to deal, and the picture is gone. Okay, so that's what happened. The next story today has to deal with the Beach Boys Good Vibrations cruise, which is scheduled to set sail next month on Norwegian Cruise Line. And Sixth Man has announced that John Stamos will be on the cruise ship as a special guest for the voyage. The Beach Boys Good Vibrations will take place March the 3rd through the 8th and depart from Port Miami. The 5-day cruise will be on the Norwegian Pearl. There are limited cabins available exclusively at www.thebeachboyscruise.com. John Stamos will be offering a meet and greet and photo op on board for anyone who pre-orders his book. If you would have told me, Beach Boys Cruise attendees will be offered an exclusive discount if ordered on the ship. The second voyage of the Beach Boys Good Vibrations cruise will feature live music from sunup to sundown across several stages and settings throughout the cruise ship. This includes 2 unique shows from the Beach Boys and performances by a spectacular selection of legendary guests, including a special sail-away set from the Isley Brothers, open sea concerts from the Temptations, the Righteous Brothers, Mark McGrath, Rain, a tribute to the Beatles, Jimmy Webb, Katrina from Katrina and the Waves, Maggie Rose, Chris Allen, the Surfragettes, Morgan James, and the Neon Queen with a tribute to ABBA. And I'll tell you what, I wish I was free to go on that sucker. But unfortunately, I'm already booked. So, all right. The next story today, and some of you might notice, I got on my chicken shirt today. Well, there's a good reason that I got on my chicken shirt. Viking has announced a commitment to sourcing 100%. Get that, folks. 100% cage-free eggs throughout its global supply chain for 2024 and 25 at the latest. In this commitment to animal welfare, Viking joins a number of cruise lines, including Norwegian, Carnival, and Royal Caribbean. Based on its cage-free policy, Viking may even fulfill its promise 1 year earlier compared to the other cruise lines. Now, I did some checking to see exactly what this does not mean, folks, that your yard's going to get overrun by chickens, unless you just want it that way. The freedom for the chickens can be signed as life outside of a cage, but when it comes to industrial egg production, cage-free does not equal freedom. Instead, cage-free means that layer hens, the female chickens who produce the eggs, were not held in battery cages, which are considered to be among the worst cruelties endured by any farm animal. So it's not as good as all rights activists would like it to be, but it is much better than it was. So, and finally, this morning, Spirit Airlines is getting ready to open up some flights to the Caribbean going to San Juan, Puerto Rico from several stops along the way. And the information that I had is not there anymore. So I lost my story. But anyway, Spirit Air that I've talked to you before, I flew on it last week, which I liked a lot, is opening up some lanes now into the Caribbean. So you need to check on that. I do know there's a number of routes going to San Juan, and there are a couple already scheduled to go into Montego Bay. So Spirit's going to be a force to be reckoned with. All right, let's go over and see what happened and how much I screwed up with the audio for today's show, as I'm sure I did. So anyway, let's go over to the chat room. All right, Cindy's with us, Mike's here, Carol's here. The Mask Collector, greetings from parts unknown. Good morning all. Kevin's with us, 30 and a wake up. Morning cruisers from the Sky Princess. Of course, she's going to soon get on the Enchantment of the Seas. Hey, Kevin, if you got a morning here, let me know. We might chat a little bit before I get with you next week. So anyway, that could be a possibility. Yo, Eddie is in the house. Brooklyn Eddie. Sonny's with us from down in Mississippi. Says hi to Bethany. Katie's here. Don't forget to give the stream a thumbs up, as always. Do appreciate that. Yo, Brooklyn in the house. Saying good morning to everybody. Nikki's with us. Great interview. Bethany seems great. I just love Bethany to death. Yeah, and you pumped in on Dubai at the end, and then I cut the show off. I was switching, and I don't know how I do things like that. But anyway, I figured it out. I got it back, and I got the sound back on. I hope it didn't last too long. Everybody's saying no sound. I contacted John, and I paid absolutely no attention to that. Audio back. So 11:29. So about 5 minutes. So I probably didn't sound back on with the second story. So I didn't get to talk at all about the first story. I will update that one for tomorrow. How's that? Mask Collector says, besides Pancho's backyard, any good Mexican restaurant you can recommend in Cozumel? That's where I go all the time. I like them a lot. And I've been to a couple of the touristy places, but yeah, for traditional Mexican food, I like Pancho's. Nikki says, love Tom's photos. I thought he had gotten a job as a whirling dervish. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to make up some kind of crazy stories about hot air Tom. And again, folks, my apologies for screwing up the audio. At least it wasn't during my interview. I got that up. Thank you guys for staying with me that 5 minutes that I was screwed up there. So I'll try to edit that out of the podcast. So that's going to wrap me up for today. As always, folks, I will see everybody back here, same time, same channel tomorrow. We'll see you here for Cruise Amigos this afternoon as well. Almost forgot about that. 1 o'clock my time, noon John's time, and 6 o'clock for Martin. And as always, folks, stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising. And hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. This is the old fat travel guy who tends to screw a show up every now and again. You guys have a fantastic day. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie Chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.